It's hard to believe we reached the DLC 3 stage in April, but Black Ops 6 has been a different beast. It's raised the level of support for round-based zombies to unprecedented heights, with each season delivering a new map for players to jump into. I'm not one to knock back a new zombies map, but after Season 2 I was concerned that the schedule of seasonal maps may interfere with the quality. The Tombs narrative was weak, with the short quest feeling like a regression after maps like Terminus and Citadel de Mor. The resentment towards amalgams and special enemy spam had also reached a boiling point. The pressure was on. Shattered Vale, Black Ops 6's third post-launch map, had to deliver, and if you ask me, I think it did. With the grand return of Verdansk, I assumed Season 3's focus would be on Warzone at launch, with the Zombies map arriving as part of Season 3 Reloaded. Of course, Warzone did receive most of the attention, with an egregious amount of marketing, but we were still blessed with a new Zombies map. The teasers came thick and fast, and were a statement of Treyarch's intent, making Richtofen's presence in the map clear without giving too much away. Family drawing in particular was tremendous, harking back to Samantha's drawings in Horizon Drag. With Shattered Vale, Treyarch promised answers and payoffs to questions from as far back as Cold War. This was much needed reassurance following the Tomb, as although the Terminus crew secured the Sentinel artefact, it was uneventful, leaving the story of Black Ops 6 feeling rudderless. Our cries to stop showing the entire map in the pre-launch blog were also answered. This should be standard from now on because it enhances the day one experience for everyone. A new Zombies map will always have a finite amount of discovery. Don't cut that feeling down even more before launch. Shattered Vale takes us to Colton Hall, the Project Janus mansion site we first saw during the Liberty Falls cinematic. The mansion, rich in history, has been Richtofen's main base of operations in West Virginia. It's easy to see why it appealed to him. It's in the shadow of Janus Towers, has close access to Liberty Falls, and is built on ancient tunnels deep below the surface. What's not to love? The map is the perfect size for a round-based zombies map. Treyarch compared it to Citadel, but going off vibes alone, it feels larger. Plenty of diverse areas exist between the mansion, its grounds, and the Project Janus facility deep below, which creates a solid blend of zombies sci-fi and fantasy elements. This isn't only pretty, it benefits gameplay. The mansion's claustrophobic rooms have zero room for error, and are balanced by vast open areas like the motor court or the mainframe. After reaching Pack-a-Punch, a door opens in the middle of the mansion, allowing quick access from the back of the mansion to the front of the entrance hall. I always love when a zombies map brings back this feature. It reminds me of my first time playing Verrucht and turning on the power. And while we're on the subject, bring back power, please? Once you've unlocked the quick access hallway and linked the teleporter between the facility and the grounds, you can feel how well this map flows. Modern Zombies has done this expertly, but there is the fear that this layout may become too safe. Hopefully it'll be mixed up. It's easy to overlook, but Colton Hall feels like a building with a lot of history. The main quest dives deeper into this, but even just the presence of Project Janus adds a layer of realism that builds on the idea of the mansion being an essential site for Richtofen. The supplies, the machinery, the clutter, it feels lived in. Sound design further helps build up this kind of atmosphere. It's vital for zombies. I'm aware I sound like a broken record, but it has to be said. Treyarch's audio department is on a generational run. Every BO6 map has a new score that goes for something different, and Shattered Vale continues that trend. It isn't just the score though. The songs of Black Ops 6 Zombies are among the series' best. I'm talking from as far back as World at War. Falling to Pieces reaches a new apex, featuring the welcome return of Malukah on lead vocals and a sizzling solo. Unique special enemies are vital for zombies in terms of gameplay, style, and longevity. A new enemy type can make a map feel distinct, but the last couple of zombies experiences, we've had a rotating cast of enemies. However, we can't have our cake and eat it too. If we want round-based maps to keep coming out at the current pace, we simply can't expect new enemies every single time. The Elder Disciple is a good compromise. Sure, it's technically a returning enemy, but it has a brand new look and operates differently from other Disciples. The longer the Elder Disciple is active, the greater the threat of it summoning another special enemy. This rewards aggressive play. If you snuff out the Elder before it can spawn in larger threats, you don't really need to worry about doppelgasts or amalgams. This isn't always as easy as it sounds, however, as the Disciple is prone to hanging back behind the Horde. Shitebag. The Elder's design may be the best Disciple variant yet. After being damaged, it exposes a monstrous hole in its head, with appendages trailing and heads grouped together inside its torso. It's a real display of body horror, and I hope we see more in this vein. While the Elder can spawn in special and elites, having only one special variant to look out for during regular gameplay is refreshing. The elite and special zombies framework is sound, but it's nice to mix it up every now and then. It is funny to think that Treyarch have solved the enemy spam problem while having every possible zombie type spawnable on the map. This shows that the issue isn't really with the enemies themselves, but with how frequently they spawn, when they spawn, and what else spawns alongside them. I've said in the past I'm sick of vermin rounds, but when I triggered the Janus message and was met with a swarm of them, it worked for me because it was unexpected and limited to the quest step. Speaking of, we finally have a max ammo round that isn't vermins or parasites. Thank fuck. The toxic zombies are reminiscent of the poison catalyst zombies from Black Ops 4, but they're much more lethal if they catch you in the radius of their explosions. It means you can't mindlessly shoot every enemy in front of you like usual in max ammo rounds. Keeping your distance is well advised. I'm hopeful the future holds more unique enemies from map to map. In theory, Treyarch can use the unified COD engine to build up a library of special enemies for zombies. We might be frustrated with the same 4 or 5 recurring now, but eventually that should level out if they're allowed to build on the foundations that they've made in Black Ops 6. Shattered Veil marks the return of 2 iconic wonder weapons, the Wonderwolf DG2 and the Raygun Mark II. The Raygun Mark II may be my favourite wonder weapon of all time, so I'm over the moon it's back. Season 3 Reloaded made it even better by adding it to the mystery box in every map, as is tradition. The feel of its 3 burst fire never gets old. Focus on reintroducing old weaponry may rub some the wrong way, but fear not, Project Janus has worked hard on 3 brand new upgrades for the Mark II. Mark II variants previously appeared in Black Ops 4's Alpha Omega, and while I enjoyed those, none of them stood the test of time really. Looking back at them now, I think I prefer most of the new ones. Not only is the Mark IIW a callback to the mighty equipment from Black Ops 4, but it's also a rapid fire Mark II. This is the form I've been primarily using because it's just so satisfying. An SMG ray gun was always going to be popular. I'm surprised it took them this long. Shotguns are never usually my favourite weapon of choice, with a few exceptions of course, so at first I wasn't expecting to enjoy the Mark IIP much. However, this thing slaps. Out of the 3 upgrades, it's the best panic weapon, which lets you easily crowd control. The sigil that spawns and gives you a brief period of invulnerability is a great bonus. The Mark IIR is different from most wonder weapons. It's more tactical and less about quickly mowing down zombies. Players often use the wonder weapons as a get out of jail card, but you're unlikely to be able to spam the toxic variant if you're put in a pinch. This doesn't mean it isn't powerful though. A well placed shot can melt a ton of zombies. It's similar to the Wonderwolf I found in Tag der Toten. Many wrote that one off, without realising that a critical headshot on a zombie could chain together a lot of fatalities. I respect the 2R even if I don't use it as much as the others. It's always nice to see a wonder weapon outside the box. I've enjoyed using classic wonder weapons throughout Black Ops 6, with some even finding redemption, like the jet gun. Treyarch would be foolish not to pull from the 15 plus years of history, but it should let new ideas marinate too. I hope we can get at least one new wonder weapon in Black Ops 6 before support ends. Some said it would never happen, but Double Tap is back. For the first time in a long time, the original 4 perks are available in Zombies. I was pleasantly surprised that it's the original Double Tap, which increases fire rate, rather than 2.0, which increases weapon damage. Augments do present the opportunity to increase damage output though, so really it's the best of both worlds. The Double or Nothing augment gives the gambler in me a big rush. Season 2 Reloaded featured Cowabunga Cranked, a limited time variation of Cold War's Cranked mode. Available in all 4 maps, Cowabunga Cranked challenged players to kill zombies to stop the death timer from running out. The mode included a special Time Stopper field upgrade, unique power-ups, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle skirtings. The nature of the crank timer insta-killing you gives the mode a good sense of tension, but it can be frustrating when a run ends abruptly because of something like a delayed spawn. It's never a good feeling in Zombies when you die to something out of your control. I completed the Tomb's main quest in Cowabunga Cranked, which felt like the map most suited for the mode. The rounds didn't flip during specific stages like the ice staff upgrades or the Easter egg rituals, where you need to slay a lot of zombies. Each map had a unique Gobblegum reward and an exclusive calling card for Easter egg completion. Like the early completion variants, these rewards aren't the most exciting, but it's a start, so expect Treyarch to continue experimenting with rewards in the future. The fact that you can even do the Easter egg in this is massive. Cowabunga Cranked is the best LTM we've experienced so far. However, the branding around it means it's unlikely to become a permanent feature. I've brought this up before, but it's the worst part of special events. All that hard work for nothing.
The Chronorium? But I've already read it. Read it again. What is the meaning of this? The pages have changed, eh? Our blood? Mine blood? You cannot possibly expect me to let this happen! You son of a bitch!
Clearly Sam's been reading over my shoulder. Treyarch has already addressed my primary issue with Cowabunga Cranked. Team Cranked was added to Black Ops 6 a few weeks after Shattered Veil and strips the turtles from the mod. The Crank timer is also now shared across the team. Not much of a change for solo players, but hopefully this version of the mod hangs around after Season 3.
The Chronorium? But I've already read it. Read it again. What?
Forget it. My thoughts on LTMs overall haven't changed. I'd like to see the gameplay modifiers return in quest steps, SAM challenges, stuff like that, but most aren't captivating as standalone modes. I prefer permanent zombies experiences like Onslaught or Outbreak, modes that complement round-based maps rather than quick flashes in the pan.
Get our fucking round in. Come on!
After the Tomb's lacklustre main quest, I was hoping Shattered Veil would up the ante, and this main quest might just be Black Ops 6's best. It does follow the Black Ops 6 formula of building each wonder weapon and completing a relevant step. However, the rituals tied to each weapon are much more involved and have several steps instead of one. These can also be completed in any order, which helps keep repeated runs fresh, and increases potential speedrun strategies if that's your thing. The quest unlocks a megaton of secret areas. There's something about these that never gets old to me. Throughout Zombies' lifetime, many things have changed. That sense of wonder when a hidden room opens will never dim. Each ritual lets us dive into a painting and experience a pocket of time when the mansion wasn't a decrepit mess. The highlight, however, is the Serpent Mound, an ancient ritual site deep below Liberty Falls. It ties into the lore and is also an enjoyable place to train zombies. The quest to unlock the Mark II is simple but effective. It's similar to the term in this equation, in that it gives you everything you need to solve it, and once you've done it successfully a few times, it becomes second nature. I may be in the minority, but enjoy a quest with lots of parts and RNG dictated steps, within reason. There were some knee-jerk overreactions to the step where you use Ether Shroud to pick up the Colton documents, but now the dust is settled, it's easily doable in 1 or 2 charges of Ether Shroud. You can also access an additional charge in the mainframe. I was interested to see what Treyarch would do with Shattered Veil's boss fight after the controversial battle with the Sentinel artifact in the tomb. I can't say I predicted a dinosaur. It's one of these things you'd throw out as an idea and never expect to materialise. Z-Rex is an instantly iconic boss. It's the perfect blend of challenge and spectacle. It can get quite rowdy in solo, particularly in the third phase, but the arena provides a lot of cover. You can get out of the line of sight quickly thanks to all the rocks jutting out of the ground. These blessings can also be a curse, as you can accidentally create choke points by killing the toxic zombies. The pools of immobilising waste they leave behind make you vulnerable, and the Z-Rex can close the distance quickly. The Z-Rex does have a combo move that's quite hard to read, but I found pushing back towards it protected me from taking full damage most of the time. Richtofen assists us during the fight, and it's cool battling alongside him, even if he's using an unpapped sniper. What a fucking clown. In fairness, he can gift us a self-revive which comes in clutch for solo players. There's also a round 100 version of the boss. That's something I'm not going to ever attempt, but it's good that it's there for the players who do like a challenge. It adds to the longevity of the map. It should be noted that only one developer coded the Z-Rex. Chillhammer, who was responsible for Patient 13 and Greylorn in Modern Warfare Zombies, has quickly become a valuable asset for the Zombies team, and I shudder to think what horror he's cooking for his next boss. As for the side quests, there are a few highlights, but they're not quite in the same level as Terminus or past Black Ops titles. I like how the Wonderwaffle quest ties into the Liberty Falls cutscene, as we chase the purple smoke around the mansion to pick up the weapon where Richtofen dropped it. I have a soft spot for companions, whether Klaus, the Civil Protector, or anything in between. When playing solo, having someone to watch your back can be a lifesaver. Therefore I was delighted to see that Mr. Peak's quest rewarded us with Donut, our very own mutatable vermin. It's a shame what happened to him. The Sam Trap quest is short and sweet. I appreciate that it doesn't take too much effort to set up. It makes me more inclined to use it in multiple matches. Shattered Veil does have a healthy amount of side quests. The issue is mainly the type of rewards. Take the Fog Rolling In quest for example. It's a lot of effort for a few Ethereum crystals. This is something the Tomb actually did quite well, things like the Modern Warfare Zombies Golden Armour and the Raygun Egg. That said, I am pleased to see Intel tied in as a reward for some of the side eggs. Vital Revelation should be hidden. The main quest may be the first thing to get solved usually, but a crucial piece of intel discovered a few days later is always a buzz. The developers should continue using lore to their advantage. Don't get me wrong, writing and implementing lore still takes time, but it'll cost less than creating a brand new gameplay mechanic from scratch. The skin for completing the quest is also a belter, probably the best we've had so far. It combines a cool design with one that resonates with older Zombies fans, enticing new players in while rewarding the dedicated ones.
Shit, it must be Christmas.
The Strauss-mobile arrives at the foot of the mansion's grounds to drop off the Terminus crew. They work their way up and through the mansion until they reach the lift where we last saw Richtofen getting his arse handed to him by Sam. The crew zipline down the shaft and meet Sam in the flesh for the first time.
Ah, there you are. It is so nice to meet you face to face, mate.
As mentioned in the Tombs outro, the Sentinel artifact must be charged with prima materia before it can be used. The crew builds each ray gun Mark II variant to help them access liminal spaces, bubbles in time which let us see parts of the mansion in their former glory. As the Sentinel artifact grows in power, Richtofen makes contact with Weaver and co, pleading with them to stop. With revenge firmly in their minds, they ignore him, finish charging the artifact and hand it over to Sam. Sam thanks the crew for their work, then stabs them in the front. It traps the crew alongside Richtofen, who shakes his head like a disappointed father. Weaver prepares to exact his revenge before Richtofen tells him why he treated him so poorly. Weaver and Maxis are responsible for the fire that resulted in the death of Richtofen's family, and Weaver has now handed his last chance of getting them back to Sam. He then gives Weaver a choice: kill him and get his revenge, or work together to escape and stop Sam. Although conflicted, Weaver decides to trust Richtofen. The crew and Eddie fight out of the mansion and make it to safety. Or at least that's what the plan was.
There's a goddamn dinosaur!
The aptly named Z-Rex chases after them, eventually cornering the crew in a crater within Colton Hall's grounds. Richtofen has the high ground and assists them as they attempt to slay the tyrant. After extinction, the crew and Richtofen butt heads again. This time, he explains Sam's goal. It wants to become Samantha Maxis and must be stopped. As an uneasy alliance is formed, Carver asks if Richtofen has a plan.
You got a plan?
Always.
A lot was riding in Shattered Vare's story, and I'm delighted with the outcome. It answers some big questions and features the emotional confrontation between Richtofen and Weaver. Nolan North kills it. This is some of his best work as the German. He's portrayed 3 unique versions of the character that all feel quintessentially Edward Richtofen. It's not an easy feat. The writing team deserve credit too. Eddie doesn't sound like Primus or Ultimus Richtofen in the slightest. I'm glad he's back. Richtofen is zombies. It's no coincidence that the strongest elements of Black Ops 6's story surround him. The same could be said for Maxis too. They've always been at odds. Maybe that's the way it should be.
The road is long and dark, but I know where we are going. We will complete our mission.
Thank you, my friends. This means so much to me. Therefore, it is awkward that you will not see the conclusion of my mission.
Again, it's like poetry, so if they rhyme.
Eddie and Sam are the through line from the beginning of Ether to now. While the Dark Ether offers new opportunities for storytelling, all roads should lead back to Ether, even if it's as simple as 2 characters going off on a new journey. As expected, Sam has betrayed us. We knew it was likely, but we didn't have a real motive until now. It wants to become Samantha Maxis, and plans to use the Sentinel artifact to make it happen. Whether that means fishing Maxis out of the Dark Ether, or creating a body via prima materia, we can't say for sure. But regardless, Sam must be stopped. Speaking of Sam, voice acting has improved massively. His voice has a lot more personality, even sounding like Julie Nathanson's Maxis at points. As always, I hope Julie can return to voice the actual Maxis if we ever see her again, but I'm happy with how the new voice actor has developed.
Fresh from the Dark Ether, the Ray Gun Mark II, for all your extermination needs.
Sam has an assortment of unique voice lines for each crew member, and plenty of one-liners if you're careless with your aim. It's not just Sam either. In general, the dialogue is a big step up from the other Black Ops 6 maps. Each crew member has more character, and Carver, Gray and Weaver reference Requiem more than once. It makes the map feel like a true Cold War successor, which you can't really say about Citadel or the Tomb. Unique dialogue appears when you hit milestone rounds and complete side quests. This is a small addition on paper, but it makes a big difference.
Dad didn't make it to 50. At least I got that on him.
Yeah, I don't like that rabbit's chances.
Richtofen showed off a new artifact that Josiah Shem used to break space-time. Some may roll their eyes at the appearance of another artifact, but it doesn't bother me one bit. It's zombies. We've had countless MacGuffins in the past, we'll have countless more in the future. More often than not, that's just how video games work. When Mario reaches the end of a world, his princess is in another castle. Sonic collects one Chaos Emerald, then has to go and get the rest of them. Grimace collected Dempsey's Solon der Eisendrache and set off to collect Takio's and Zetsubo no Shima. Introducing this device is meant to raise questions, and given the payoffs we got in this map, we now have the bandwidth to deal with new mysteries. That's the way it should be. Answer some, ask more. It's becoming increasingly likely that Josiah Shem is the key to understanding what's going on with Chaos. I think that's why we've been subjected to the slow progression of information. The pieces need to be put into place on the board to get to the big reveal.
Can I get an angry German? Blam.
Blam!
Shem's ritual is a good example of show don't tell. Something Treyarch stressed would feature more in Black Ops 6 than it did in Cold War. Instead of just a piece of intel describing what he was up to, we experience his preparations via an echo in liminal space. Richtofen uses the word accidentally, so perhaps Shem wasn't aware of the true scope of what he'd done until it was too late. It's also interesting that Sam described the liminal spaces in Shattered Vale as local, suggesting they're restricted to the mansion. Whatever Shem did, you have to imagine it had much grander repercussions than just a small estate in West Virginia.
You have upgraded your Mark II. It should help you access Colton Hall's liminal spaces. When those local pockets of space-time fractured, they imprison the poor unfortunates occupying them.
I'm not a scientist. Group 935 rejected my application, but from my understanding, shattering space-time doesn't necessarily mean the multiverse is returning. If we picture the post-ether universe as a book, the pages are space-time, the framework where all physical events occur. If we rip out a few pages and scatter them, we've broken space-time, as the pages are out of order and fractured. However, it's all still part of the same book. Now if we were to introduce additional books, we'd have a multiverse, and if they were also to be damaged, we might end up with something similar to Black Ops 3. As of now, I think we're in the clear for the return of the multiverse, but I don't think we can rule it out. I really hope it doesn't happen, but I feel it's there as a pressing case of emergency button. I'm A-okay with time travel, which has been hinted at for a while, but having both gets messy, and that's the last thing Dark Ether needs right now. The title of the map should also be taken into account. Who was it that shattered the Veil? Shem? Richtofen? Weaver? Sam after claiming the Sentinel artifact? And what are the consequences of shattering the Veil? I've covered what I think the result may be in the Shutterpaw blog, but to summarise, the Veil is a defensive layer protecting the universe from the Dark Ether. When that is broken, the Dark Ether and its denizens are free to corrupt everything. We are likely unprepared for what awaits us in Janus Towers and beyond. I've been critical about some of the lore in Black Ops 6, but unlike previous maps, every piece of intel in Shattered Vale adds something. Thanks to his audio logs, we can confirm Richtofen's end goal. We also get more information on Project Janus and what he was working on before the events of Black Ops 6. It all revolves around Mary and Samuel, Richtofen's family. Blancard and Panos' radios tease a confrontation at Janus Towers. Shem's radio further explores his cult and hints at the return of Cortifex the Deathless. Tammy Lundberg's research logs help fill in some extra information about the manor's history and its occupants over the years. These tie in with the main quest as supplementary material, and it's a much better execution of what was attempted with Archibald in the tomb. If Archibald's journey had included more information on the Sentinel artifact, and how Chaos ties together with Dark Ether for instance, it would have been much better received. I'm hopeful this sets a new standard for intel in Black Ops 6. Interestingly, the Raygun Mark II was retrieved from the Dark Ether. I much prefer this explanation instead of creating new lore for old weaponry. It feels good knowing all the old Ether stuff is still relevant despite being ancient history. Looking at which audio logs to spotlight, I could pick anyone, but two Richtofen radios stand out in particular.
Prima materia. It's mentioned again and again in my father's research. A concept that goes back to the days of Aristotle, Anaxagoras, and beyond. Sam, can you define what prima materia is?
In modern parlance, it would be described as protomatter, a chaotic substance that can be structured into, well, anything. Just as stem cells can become any type of organic tissue, prima materia can become any type of energy or matter.
Precisely. The stuff dreams are made of, or so father believed.
Well, he also believed in alchemy, demons, and magic.
All concepts that I never looked at through the lens of quantum physics, a failing I now seek to correct.
But why, Eddie? Assuming this substance even exists, how would you manipulate it? A magic wand? A philosopher's stone?
The Sentinel artifact. Father's notes identify it as the tool for shaping the building blocks of creation.
This is just a thought experiment, yes?
So was general relativity until it could be proven true.
Eddie, where is this line of inquiry leading? What would you make with it if you could? We are already creating new forms of energy here, and new life forms at the Terminus facility. Unless, are you considering...
That's enough for now, Sam. In fact, stop recording and scrub this conversation from your databanks. I have several volumes of Father's research left to pour through. We'll take up this topic again if it promises to actually bear fruit.
Again, we have the sci-fi of Cold War melding with the fantasy elements of Vanguard zombies and chaos. I've already explained that this makes a map distinctive and can complement gameplay, but it also gives the story some added gravitas. Eddie meddles with things beyond his comprehension, otherworldly threats that do not bend to the laws of science. Zombies is at its most interesting when it does this. Take Blood of the Dead or Horizon Drac as two examples. One may wonder why Richtofen is suddenly so invested in prima materia and the occult. Well...
Edward Richtofen, Project Janus, Cloning Clinical Study Report. Addendum, December 23rd, 1987. Not now, not so. Do not look at me with those big brown eyes. You cannot possibly know how I feel. Do you feel like a failure? No. I am the failure. When my son died, I was not there. I did not see the body. When Modi told me the new clone experiment had been successful, I was eager to see him for myself. That was foolish of me. His skin was thin, pale, sallow, but I still clung to hope. But this fragile vessel soon became a mere shadow of the boy. The soul I had hoped for, but still I needed to be with him, the way I was not there for Sammy. Over the coming weeks, every visit to the nursery brought more pain for both of us. His blood vessels began hemorrhaging. His muscles and tissue were rupturing. After 14 days, he was no longer even recognizable as human. It became clear that euthanasia would be a mercy, and I gave the order. I do not know what to do next. Perhaps Modi's biotechnology is not the right way to proceed. We are running low on DNA samples. I miss you so much, my son. Since my current projects are not bearing fruit, I may need something a little more esoteric. Perhaps it is time to talk to my own father and take his methodology more seriously.
Said it before and I'll say it again. Nolan North is killing it. He's operating on a higher level than ever before. The pain in Richtofen's voice is powerful. This was supposed to be a new beginning for Sam and Eddie, yet it's another world of hurt. This Richtofen has done some highly questionable things, but it's difficult not to feel sympathy for him, especially after reading Kraft's letter. It's heartbreaking stuff. In Citadel de More, Kraft was adamant that it's never too late for Richtofen to change. Let's hope he's right. Although there's a lot of positive movement with Black Ops 6's story in Shattered Vale, there's still some unfortunate narrative issues. Inconsistencies with previously established information, vague intel with wonky dates, and a lack of focus on essential characters like the crew. There's no way around these issues. They're disappointing, but mistakes happen. I remember dates being retroactively changed throughout Cold War after some hiccups. Zombies has always played fast and loose with its story, and I like that about it. Everyone knows the story of how Sam came to exist, or how the identity of the fourth man in the Ascension poster changed, not to mention the mystery of the Red Eyes and Mob of the Dead. We don't write the story, but we do help shape it occasionally.
Sometimes our personal touches are accidental. When we were working on Black Ops 2, we were like a new team working on it, and we hadn't quite caught up with all of the rules yet, and so when we were determining the eye color for Mob of the Dead, a producer got asked like what color to make them, and he's just like, I don't know, red. And then with Q2, like we released the trailer, and the community is like, what is this third faction? What do the Red Eyes mean? And we're like, oh, okay. That was like the wake up.
Intentional.
Yes. Yeah, totally. It worked out.
With so many moving pieces in video game development, especially Call of Duty, I imagine the narrative team have gone through several passes of Black Ops 6's story. We don't know the reason for some of these odd decisions, but I doubt it's as simple as any of the theories going around. I'm giving the narrative team some grace. If we get payoffs for insignificant but charming pieces of intel like Richtofen's late video rentals, I severely doubt they've forgotten multiple main plot points. They aren't key jangling as some like to put it, instead they're sowing seeds. Now some of these seeds are taking a long time to bloom, there's no doubt about it, but there will be a moment when they finally come to light, and I plan to withhold my judgment until then. I do get the feeling the Dark Ether ran before it could walk. There are 3.5 games worth of lore and a decade or so of Ether to tie together. That's why I was disappointed with the Tombs lore. Apart from a few diamonds in the rough, it felt like we'd wasted a map. And maps are our only vehicle for storytelling currently. We get so few of them in the grand scheme of things. I still think many of the narrative problems could be alleviated with more significant and frequent intel drops. For a billion-dollar franchise like Call of Duty, it's frustrating how inconsistent the storytelling can be. There used to be the understanding that a new Treyarch COD meant more zombies, and anything else outside of that, like a run of comics, was a bonus. Now we have zombies most of the time, but not every year, and the lore suffers as a result. After COD 2025 we could be without zombies for several years, which isn't just a narrative issue, but I digress. I think most of the things we're waiting on will be addressed by the end of COD 2025. I can understand the frustration. The lore should be getting more care and attention, but unless we know exactly what's going on behind the scenes, speculation leads to misinformation. Despite all this, I am happy with Shattered Veil's narrative elements. It's a step in the right direction, and the character of Edward Richtofen shines once more. We know what Craig Houston and the writing team are capable of, and I'm more than certain they can get back to that level. As always, I have a few random bits of feedback I want to toss out into the ether. With so many cosmetics in the game, I'd appreciate getting a random and favourite option for operators and Wonder Weapon skins. I forget about the Wonder Weapon skins half the time. I'm still holding out for an option where health bars can be turned off for base zombies but stay on for special and elite enemies. A lot of work has went into the custom HUD options this year, and hopefully that isn't the end of it. Multiplayer has received some post-launch perks that would work well as augments in zombies. It'd be great if we could see perks like Slipstream or Close Shave added. With the pre-launch assumption that Shattered Veil would be a narratively important map, I was disappointed we didn't get an intro. It's a key marketing beat and is always a big event for Zombies fans. Both launch maps and Citadel de Mort may have lulled us into a false sense of security with cinematics. Ideally we'd get a full intro and outro cinematic with every map, but that's never the case. Black Ops 3 was closest, but even the Dreisendrache intro was a comic book. Not to insult those kinds of intros, I think they can more than make up for a lack of a pre-rendered cutscene, and I'm a big fan of the Alpha, Omega and Tagder Toten ones. I believe when it comes to story, something is better than nothing, and the return of loading screens for maps without cinematic intros would be nice. Give us a Mob of the Dead-like one to ponder over. Shattered Veil is a glimpse of zombies firing on all cylinders again, and given the make or break stakes, I can't declare that as anything other than a resounding victory. It refocuses the Dark Ether saga, establishing Richtofen as a main character and Sam as the antagonist, with further dangers looming in the background. Between Sam, Panos and his mystery benefactor, the unknown fate of Cortifex and the Forsaken, and the ominous presence of the Shadowsmiths, we have many battles ahead. Can the Terminus crew truly trust Richtofen? The fragile alliance will only get more delicate. I'm unsure if our band of heroes will all still be on the same page by the end of their mission to Janus Towers. I'm beginning to think some may not even make it out alive. I try not to compare everything to older Zombies installments, because you can end up sounding like a bitter but this map is the most Black Ops 3 feeling map of the Dark Ether saga. Maybe it's the slightly more complex quest design, the focused narrative, or just the Richtofen of it all. Whatever it is, it's a nice feeling. Treyarch still has it, and once again refuses to fold when its back is against the wall. I feel it's important to mention that despite only being in Season 3, we're heading towards what is traditionally the final Zombies map of a game's lifecycle, DLC 4. Treyarch has remained tight-lipped about plans for post-launch support, but it seems weird to front-load the experiences, especially when a map like the Tomb could have done with a little more time in the oven. It looks like Janus Towers is set up to be the Black Ops 6 finale, but maybe it isn't. I think it's 50-50 whether we'll get more than one more round-based map. But regardless of hearsay, I'm not putting any money on it. If it happens, great. If not, I hope there's at least something planned for the last few seasons of Black Ops 6. With the COD 2025 announcement imminent, I wonder what the long-term future holds for Zombies. I'd love a year of Zombies free of controversy or development issues. Alas, modern Call of Duty renders that impossible. We've also seen what happens to Perfect Worlds.
Maxis went and ballsed everything up.
I could sit here and wax lyrical about the state of Zombies, the good and the bad, attempt to forecast what awaits us and criticise the elements of modern Call of Duty that damage the mode, Instead, I simply hope the Zombies team at Treyarch continues the progress they've made since Cold War. Take any licks as they come, keep on fighting for that better tomorrow. To those who say there's no passion in zombies anymore, play Shattered Veil. If you genuinely believe that after playing it, I can't help you. It's a map I haven't stopped thinking about since my first playthrough, and it excites me for the conclusion of Black Ops 6 and beyond. Above all else, Shattered Veil is a reminder that warts and all, Zombies is still an elite video game experience. A horde mode that is much more than a simple time killer. A collaboration between creatives, from artists to writers to coders to musicians, a beacon of hope in an otherwise stagnant franchise. An avant-garde indie movie glued to the side of a Hollywood-mandated blockbuster. Does it have rough edges? Sure. Is it compromised by the series it finds itself a part of? You bet. But is it worth the struggle, the constant ups and downs? Always.
Zombies was, because we didn't say a word about it, it caught fire in this kind of more organic kind of word of mouth way, and it was seen as their game. So it's kind of completely opposite to the Call of Duty formula, which is the most prescribed big thing out there.
Like our commercials at the NBA All-Star game, and it's like one of the most viewed. Yeah.
And then you've got this indie thing that is truly as indie as it comes, which is a couple of guys doing something. And then sticking onto this juggernaut of a game that is selling millions of units.